Welcome to this guide on how to define a business process. Genesis Energy uses ProMap to capture process documentation. Through it, a business owner can document the process flow and make it available online for staff to access and then to understand the steps involved. Before you can do this, however, you first must define the process. In this session, I will take you through a simple method which will clearly identify the activities and tasks within your process. By following this approach, you will be able to define your process in an uncomplicated way that is easy to then document within ProMap. Right, now first of all, we obviously need to capture the information, the steps within the process. And to do this exercise, you'll need a few things. You'll need a whiteboard, you'll need a book of post-it notes, and a whiteboard pen comes in handy too. Make sure it's not a Vivid, otherwise your boss might not like you. Okay, so what we're going to do, and you'll get together the participants of your process. You'll get them into a room, and on these post-it notes, you're going to mark down effectively what each of the steps within your process are, the activities that you see taking place. Now keep in mind that at this point it's more of a case of getting the information. You don't have to structure it necessarily sequentially. We can do that later on. And the beauty of post-it notes is that you can move them. So you're not putting something down, wiping it out, and then having to do it again. So in this example, I'll take an everyday activity. I'm making a hot drink, which is actually more complex than you might think. So what are the activities of making a hot drink? Well, at some point you're going to put tea in cups. You're going to take orders. You're going to get out cups. You're going to add sugar. Okay, so obviously some people like coffee. Milk. You're going to, at some point, serve the hot drink. And you're going to add boiling water at some point as well. So effectively we've done a bit of a grab of information. So these are all the activities that would happen in your process. And now we need to basically structure it sequentially. So what would happen first? I think you're going to probably be taking orders. And then you're going to come back, you're going to get out some cups to put the order into. You're going to put the basic ingredients in. You're going to put either coffee or you're going to put tea into the cups. You're going to probably add sugar, add milk, add boiling water. So here's the core of your process. Now, keeping in mind too that once it's up here on the board, people might say, hang on, there are more things to be put in here. They might have some questions, for example, like, what if there aren't enough cups? Are there enough cups? Well then, if not, you may have to wash some cups. With the sugar element, maybe some people might be some diabetics in the room, in which case you'll use artificial sweetener. Add milk. What if the milk's off? There might be a question around that. Is the milk fresh? In which case you might go and do a runner to buy some milk. And obviously at the end, you're going to serve the hot drink. So once you've got this far, you need to draw the lines as to how your process goes. And it's going to look something like this. You've got the exception here. Are there enough cups? We're going to wash them. If not, we're going to put the coffee and the tea in the cups. We're going to add the sugar. We're going to ask the question, are there any diabetics? In which case you're not going to use the sugar, you're going to use the artificial sweetener. Going to add the milk. Ask the question again, is there enough milk? Maybe it's maybe there's none, or maybe it's not fresh, so you're going to buy some. Then you're going to add the boiling water, and ultimately you're going to serve the hot drink. So effectively, there's your process. And okay, it's all there, but I'm pretty sure that we can do a more simplistic sort of way of actually showing this. So keep in mind with the post-it notes, we can take steps out, or we can add them back in again if we need to. But I would suggest quite strongly that anything we take out at this point, we're going to probably use at a later point. So let's see what we can do here. Right, so what I've done here, I've taken out the exceptions and the variations in the process. And what I've created is what we call a happy flow. This is how your process would run if there were no other considerations to come into place here. Like, we've taken out the diabetics, we've taken out the milk past the expiry date, etc. We've got enough clean cups. And what you've got here is your core process. So from start to finish, we've gone from something like 14, 15 steps down to only 7 or 8. So definitely more simple. It's going to be easier for the user to look at. They're going to be able to absorb the process a lot faster. Okay, so from here, we're going to start building a multi-layer approach within the process. So we've got, at the moment, everything is sitting here as activities within the process. And at 8 steps, it's definitely a lot more simple than what we started off with, but we can go another step further and make it even more simple. So, and remember, anything I pull out of the process at this point, we're going to keep, and we're going to use it towards the end. So we're not going to make this into a dumb process where there's missing information. It'll be quite instructional at the end. So what I'm going to do is go through a little piece here, what we call chunking. We're going to chunk the process into common themes. When you have a longer process, it might be a little bit harder to actually identify the transition points. This one, I think you're going to find very quickly that it's quite simple. There are definitely 3 themes here. So we've got our first theme here, which is take the order. We've got our second theme, which ends about here, which is make the hot drink. And our final theme here is deliver the drink to your customer. So potentially here, it doesn't always work, but in this case it definitely will. We're going to cut this process back to about 3 steps. So watch what happens. Right, so I've rearranged the process, and we've now based it upon those chunked phases that we identified a minute ago. So we've got take orders, make hot drinks, serve hot drinks. There's your process. But you're going to say, okay, that's my process, but how the heck do I follow it? Definitely, this is very abstract. It shows you the key steps, but we need to next go down and put the instructional pieces in, which we'll do right now. So you'll remember at the very beginning, we identified over a dozen steps or activities that happen within the process. And obviously at the moment, with only 3 steps, we've definitely simplified things a lot, but we've also taken away the details so that a user of your process cannot obviously follow it. So now we need to put the detail back in, but we'll put the detail back in at a different layer. These are activities. We're going to introduce the tasks. The tasks are basically what has to be done within each of these activities in order for it to happen. So obviously in take an order for a hot drink, you're going to have your take an order activity, coffee, tea, well, potentially hot chocolate. You're going to ask who requires milk, sugar or sweetener. You're then going to start making the hot drinks. You're going to get out the cups. You're going to wash the cups where necessary. You're going to add the key ingredient, which is coffee, tea or hot chocolate. You're going to add milk if required, and if there's no milk you're going to potentially go and buy that milk. You're going to add sugar or sweetener if required, and you're going to, at the very end, you're going to add boiling water. And you come to the third step. All these must be accomplished first before you can go to the third step. You're going to check the drinks against the order list, just to make a little bit of quality checking is always a good thing. And then you're going to serve the drinks to the customer. There's your process. We've taken what was there at the very beginning and we've reordered it, but put it back in again at a lower layer. Right, well, if you've got this far, it's mission accomplished. We've simplified the process big time. We've structured it. We've got operational detail. We can see the process. We can see the components of the process, and we can see the components of the components. So we now know how to achieve the process. Keep in mind that you're creating something that you want people to use. So obviously you want to make it user-friendly. And by doing this, you've done just that. You've got it in a state where you can now start inserting it into ProMap. And at that point, it's going to become an interactive experience. So well done. Thank you very much for watching.